evening everyone. Today we are going to start with our biology chapter, and we have seen up till now different organelles. Okay, whatever we have seen were endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, cytoplasm, isn't it? So today we are going to see rest of our syllabus which is there in your textbook. Okay, so our next part is centrosome and centrioles. This is also organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria. Now this is the sixth organelle, centrosome and centrioles. See, I have given here image also. Centrosome, this is the whole image of the centrosome, and inside the centrosome there is what? Centrioles. So I hope you have understood. This is the image of the centrosome. Okay, so this centrosome is there, and inside that centrioles are there. That's why they have togetherly formed as named as centrosome and centrioles. Now centrosome is found only in animal cells. See, now this is found only in animal cells. This is not found in plant cell. Okay, during cell division, spindle fibers develop from centrosome. You might have heard that cell division is happening, and spindle fiber, what do you mean by spindle fiber? Spindle fiber are nothing but long strands of protein, and when are they going to used? This is functioning during the cell division. Okay, this is actually spindle fibers are the actually proteins, and which will divide the genetic material. When the cell division is going on at that time it will function as it will divide the genetic material. Okay, so the centrosome contain two centrioles. See here in the figure, look at the cursor. See, these two centrioles are there. Here also they have shown. See, these two centrioles are there. Okay, inside the centrosome, which are short bundle of microfilaments arranged at right angles to each other. And how are they arranged? In the right angles. And these centrioles, how are they made up of? They are made up of microfilaments. How are they made up of? Microfilaments. Okay, so basically this is the figure for centrosome and centrioles. This figure I have taken from Google. Plastids. Now the next organelle is the plastids. Plastids are found only in plant cell. Now see, these were there which were only found in animal cell, centrosomes and centrioles. Now these plastids are there, these are only found in plant cell. So now you have to differentiate that some organelles are there which are found in both, but some organelles are specifically found in any cell. Like it may be found only in a plant cell, or it may found only in a animal cell. So you have to remember that also. Okay, now plastids. Now see, what are plastids? These are special organelles in different shapes, that is oval, spherical, disc shaped. Depending upon their color they are classified as. Now see, that means plastids are of three types, or they are classified into three. What are those? First is leucoplast, that is white. They are depending upon color, no? So leuco is white, and that's why their name has been given as leucoplast. Next is chromoplast. Chromo is what? Color, any color it may be. So it may be of yellow, orange, red, whatever color it may be. Okay, and the next one, last one is the chloroplast, the green one, that is leaves. Okay, so basically the leaves of as they are found in plants, no? So all leaves are almost of green color, isn't it? So we say you all are familiar with the chloroplast, isn't it? Now see, different flowers are there, or fruits are there which is having different colors. So that color pigment from whom they are getting? They are getting from the plastids. Okay, now chalo, let us start with whatever is given into your textbook. Leucoplast. Look at the cursor. Leucoplast is white. Okay, are colorless plastids. They are colorless one. That's why they have given it white, no color. They have no pigment, and they store starch. Okay, they are not having any pigment, and what are their function? They are storing the starch. And the example is cell of a potato. Yes, potato is starch rich, isn't it? So starch is what? Basically starch is nothing but a form of a glucose, isn't it? So glucose when stored, and glucose at the higher levels are called as starch, isn't it? So they store the starch. It is form of a glucose only. Starch is nothing but a form of a glucose. Okay, so what leucoplast, if anyone asks you, then it will store starch, and they are colorless pigment. Chromoplast. Chromo is what? Color. Basically see, this chromoplast is there, that different colors of flowers, fruits, whatever we are seeing are all because of this chromoplast. And this chromoplast are having what, different substances, and because of those different substances, those color are been there for the different, and this fruits or flowers, whatever they may be. Now here they have they have given us two examples. One is xanthophyll and the other is carotene. That is, xanthophyll is giving yellow color and carotene is giving orange red color. Okay, now see, these colors and these associated substances are there. You have to remember this, because they may ask you in the MCQs question also. So these are very important questions for MCQs also, or fill in the blanks kind of things. Okay, so don't think that this is very easy topic and just do it very easily. No, you have to do it very nicely, because after all, functioning of different organelles are important. Okay, chloroplast are green, so therefore green color pigment is what we all know. Leaves are the green colored, no? So therefore they are having chloroplast. Okay, chloroplast are green colored plastids. They have green colored pigment called as chlorophyll. They are abundant in leaves. They have other pigments such as orange and yellow, but are masked by chlorophyll. So sometimes after the leaf get dried, or after some time, if it is not getting enough sunlight, then you might have seen that some leaves are yellow colored. Why? Because along with chlorophyll, that is green colored plastid, there are also other pigments in the leaves, but those are masked by the chlorophyll. That's why those can be seen later on. If that abundant sunlight is not getting to the leaves, then the leaf that leaf becomes green to colored. It will go to yellow, isn't it? That means that yellow color pigment is also there, but it is masked. Therefore they have said that this orange color and yellow color pigments are also there along with the chlorophyll, but those are masked by the chlorophyll. Their function is to trap solar energy and absorb carbon dioxide for manufacturing of starch and sugar during photosynthesis. Now what are their function? Their function is to trap solar energy. As you have learned this since you have started bio, you know this, that they are doing the functioning of trapping the solar energy and making food. No, so making food is nothing but what? Manufacturing of starch and sugar, isn't it? Non-living substances or cell inclusions. Now all this whatever we have seen, no organelles, those were living, and now we are seeing the non-living substances. Here one slide was there where I have put the figure also. This image is there, where see living parts of a cell and non-living parts of a cell. See here, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, all these are the living parts of a cell, whereas granules, vacuoles, fat droplets comes under the non-livings, and that too are in the cytoplasm, isn't it? So now we are going to see this part. This is now remaining. We have seen all these 7 parts. Now we are going to see the granules and vacuoles. Those are the non-living parts which are there in the cytoplasm. Okay, granules. These are many small particles in cytoplasm, and such particles are believed to contain food materials such as starch, glycogen, fats. So these are nothing but what? Small particles, and it is floating in cytoplasm. And what are its function, or what does it do? It will store food material. And food material in form of what? It will store in form of starch, glycogen and fats. Okay, so basically it is for the storage of food of a cell. Vacuoles. These are certain clear spaces in cytoplasm filled with water and various substances in solution. In plant cells, the vacuoles are usually quite large, and liquid which they contain is called as cell sac. Animal cell does not have such prominent vacuoles. So vacuoles are what? Clear spaces. Some spaces are there which are given, clear spaces are there which are given as the vacuoles, and these vacuoles are larger in what? Plant. but not in the animals. So in animal cell, vacuoles are not such prominent, they are not such big, but in plant cells they are big. Okay, and what will they have? These plant cells, these are having liquid, and that liquid is called as what? Cell sap. This liquid is there which contain is called as cell sap. Now see here, this animal cell and plant cell, this image I have taken from your textbook only. See here, now this is the animal cell and this is the plant cell. If you look here carefully, this is the vacuole. Look at the cursor, this is the vacuole, the whole portion, and see how big it is, how prominent it is. But here, is there any such vacuole? No. Okay, so that's why they have said that vacuole here in the plant cell is prominent but not in the animal cell. Okay, see here, this rough endoplasmic reticulum is there, here smooth endoplasmic reticulum is there, and rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and mitochondria is there. See here, mitochondria, here also mitochondria is there, and here nucleus is there. We have not yet seen the nucleus because nucleus also are having some different organelles and their functions are there, we will see it. But here we have only seen up till this endoplasmic reticulum. See here, Golgi body is there, they have shown, centrioles is there, isn't it? Lysosome is there here. So this basically you have to draw this figure, practice it very nicely, because this question they ask you very frequently, and they may ask you to draw the diagram also. Okay, now nucleus. Up till now we have seen different cell organelles which were there in the cytoplasm, but we have not seen the nucleus organelles. So some nucleus organelles are also there. What is nucleus and what are its functions? So nucleus is most important part of a cell. Okay, it regulates and coordinates various life processes of cell. So whatever the functioning of the cell is happening, it is happening from the nucleus only. That means you may say that it is the head station. Nucleus is the head station of a cell, isn't it? So different organelles are there, but whatever the main functioning, various life processes are happening, these are happening in the nucleus only. That means it is the main part of a cell, isn't it? See, and what else? It plays an important role in cell division. So basic main you can say, you don't have to forget that nucleus will be doing the cell division. It plays a main part in cell division. Cell division, you know, right? It contains factors which determine heredity. Why determine heredity? Because while cell division is going on, at that time that genes, everything you are now going to see what actually is. So these are there while the cell division only, that genes will be there, and those are having nothing but the hereditary characteristics. That's why it is determining the heredity. So all the characters are being there present in nucleus only. So it will regulate and coordinate various life processes. It takes part in cell division and it determines heredity. So these are the three main which are colored functions, and you have to learn these functions. I have made it in color. Structure of nucleus. See, now you can see that slide is very much colored. That means many new terms are going to come here, and also this is very much important. That's why I have made it colored one. Okay. So structure of nucleus, basically they are giving that what parts are there. Let us see here. So if we look here, then what is there? Nucleoplasm is there. Okay, nucleoplasm is, we can say it might be similar to the cytoplasm only, isn't it? So nucleoplasm is there. Nuclear membrane is there. The nuclear membrane, that means what? That cell membrane was there. Similarly nuclear membrane is there, isn't it? So boundary kind of thing. So nuclear membrane is there. Nucleolus. Okay, in nucleus also there is a nucleolus. Now if you look carefully, this is our animal cell. In that animal cell, this is the nucleus, and in that nucleus, nucleolus is there. That means it is inside the nucleus. That means animal cell is there, in that nucleus is there, and in that nucleus, nucleolus is there, isn't it? So nucleolus. And see, some this thread like this structures also they have given here. So those are nothing but chromatin network. Those are what? Chromatin network. So this is basically the structure of nucleus. So you have to understand this. How many parts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, and this 5 nuclear pore. So 5 main parts are there while making the structure of nucleus. Okay, and this basically they have shown that how that cell division is happening. Here see, look at the cursor. This they have told now that they take part in cell division. This nucleus takes part in cell division. So how this cell division is happening, they have shown here in this figure. So let us not consider this right now. I am just trying to show you that what is actually structure of a nucleus. Okay, we'll see it, that how this actually cell division is also happening, but later on. Okay, so let us read with the slide. Nucleus is small spherical mass located somewhat in the center of the cytoplasm. It has delicate nuclear membrane which is filled with relatively dense nucleoplasm. That means what it is saying, that look here, this nucleus is there now. This nucleus is where it is almost at the center of the cell, floating in the cytoplasm. Okay, floating in the cytoplasm. And this nucleus, the more broader view, this nucleus is having the nuclear membrane. See, this is the nuclear membrane, that is its boundary you can say. And inside the nucleus also there is what? Nucleoplasm. This is filled with the nucleoplasm. See here, like cytoplasm was there, as I told you, that nucleus is filled with what? Nucleoplasm. See here, filled with nucleoplasm. See, I have highlighted this color so that you can understand it. Nucleus is what? Small spherical mass where it is located in the center of the cytoplasm, and it is filled with what? Nucleoplasm. So one color is given here. Now nucleoplasm. See nucleoplasm. What is there inside the nucleoplasm? So nucleoplasm, there are certain thread like structures called as chromatin fiber. Now again coming to back to the figure. See here, thread like structures. This all thread like structures are there now. Those are nothing but chromatin fiber. So inside this nucleoplasm is there, and that nucleoplasm, all chromatin fibers are there. Network of chromatin fibers. That means many more chromatin fibers are there. See, dense network of chromatin fiber. Okay. During cell division, chromatin fiber becomes thick and ribbon-like, which are then called as chromosomes. Now see this. This is dense network of chromatin fiber, isn't it? Now when that cell division is happening, no, here in this figure, at that time these are very thin, no, then what is happening, they will become thick, and they will become ribbon like. See here, they have formed. See here, I have given here in green color that chromatin fiber becomes thick and ribbon like. And now what are they called as? They will be now called as chromosomes. When they were thin and when dense network was there, when the cell division is not happening, at that time they are called as chromatin network. But when during the cell division, once the cell division starts, see here, it takes part in cell division, no. So once the cell division will occur, will start, at that time this chromatin fiber will become thick and they will become ribbon like structures, and they will be therefore called as chromosomes. See here in this figure, they have shown here chromosomes. See here, these are now the chromosomes. These are now the chromosomes. Okay, these are now the chromosomes. Cells in which nuclear membrane is absent are called as the prokaryotic cells. So this nuclear membrane is there now. Sometimes this nuclear membrane outside boundary, what I told you to just understand it, this nuclear membrane sometimes in some cells are not there, are not present, and if it is not present, this nuclear membrane is not present, then those kind of cells will be called as what? Prokaryotic cells. See, those type of cells are called as prokaryotic cells. Now these prokaryotic cells have chromatin fibers which occur freely in the central region of cytoplasm called as nucleoid. As these prokaryotic cells are not having the nuclear membrane is absent, but they are having the chromatin fiber, and they are freely lying where? In the central region of the cytoplasm, and now this will be called as nucleoid. Wait, I have figure also. See here, now this is the nucleoid, this is the prokaryotic cell. This image I have taken, this is not necessary for you. Basically the images which I have added from the Google are not necessary. It is just for explanation kind of thing to understand you more better. Okay, so don't draw this figure or practice this figure. These are for only better understanding. So now they are saying that prokaryotes are having what? Nucleoid. Na, see, this is nothing but a nucleoid in the central region, isn't it? These chromatin fibers are there, it is in the central region, and this will be now called as the nucleoid. And nucleoid is only there in prokaryotic cell and not in the eukaryotic cell. The difference between the prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell was only the nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane is absent in prokaryotic cell. See, look here, nuclear membrane is not there in the prokaryotic cell. Okay, but nuclear membrane is present in the eukaryotic cell. This is our slide. Cells in which double nuclear membrane is present are called as the eukaryotic cells. So in eukaryotic cells there will be double nuclear membrane. So if they are asking you difference between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell, then you have one major difference, that prokaryotic cell is having no nuclear membrane, but eukaryotic cell will be having double nuclear membrane, isn't it? Each nucleus also contains at least one nucleolus. In some cells there may be more than one. Number of nucleoli in cell is fixed. They participate in protein synthesis. Now see, this nucleolus here, look at the cursor here, nucleolus is there na. Here they are saying that at least one will be there, but in some cells there may be more than one. Okay, and what is its main function? That cell division. It will participate in the cell division and protein synthesis. They will participate in the protein synthesis. But see, one more thing they have told, that number of nucleoli in the cell is fixed. The number of chromosomes is definite in each species. Every human body cell has 46 chromosomes. That means this chromatin fiber, when it will become thick and ribbon like, those are called as chromosomes. Now this number of chromosomes are there, those are also fixed in a particular species. For example, in human beings they have told that these chromosomes will be 46, that is 23 pairs. That's why they have shown here in pairs. No, see here, when these chromatin fibers are converted to the chromosomes, thick ribbon like structures, in every species fixed number of these chromosomes are there. That means in human beings there are 46. In your textbook they have given the list of those. Okay, just see that particular how many chromosomes are present in a cell. Chromosomes carry genetic characters. Now what are these chromosomes? What are they carrying? That's why I have told you that these are more important. This nucleus is more important, right? So they are carrying the genetic characters from parents to offspring through the union of egg of female and sperm of male. Chromosomes are made of chromatin, which is composed of hereditary units called genes. Genes are made of complex chemical substance called DNA. So basically now here comes that DNA, what do we call as DNA, no? And DNA is what we can say that all the hereditary characters are been there present in the DNA, isn't it? So where are they basically? They are in the chromosomes. Who are carrying it? Chromosomes are carrying it. And in what hereditary units? Called as genes. These are been carried in the hereditary unit called as genes. Genes are made up of DNA. It is the genes, not the number of chromosomes, that determine the characteristics of species. So basically that's why I have told that genetic characters are been there in the chromosomes or chromatin fiber, you can say. So these are the genes only. They can ask you for give reason or question like that genes are carrying or they are determining the characteristics of species and not the number of chromosomes. That means this specific species is having the specific number of chromosomes na, that is there, but they are not having the characteristic. They cannot determine the characteristic of that particular species. Okay, so who will determine the characteristics? These genes will determine the characteristics. Animal cell, here they have given the specific animal cell. Practice this animal cell. All these organelles are being shown over here. Golgi body, plasma membrane, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, vacuole, centriole, nuclear membrane, nucleus, nucleolus, cytoplasm. See this, you are now familiar with all these organelles, isn't it? Plant cell and bacteria cell is also there. Protoplasm is what? Nothing but cytoplasm plus nucleus, called as protoplasm. So cytoplasm plus nucleus together are called as protoplasm. Chemical composition of protoplasm is very complex. It varies a little from cell to cell. Common elements include carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, iron, phosphorus. See, what are they saying? That chemical composition, it may vary from cell to cell, but some common elements are there. Those are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So these are there which are necessary for a cell to function, isn't it? They are in form of specific compounds such as water, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, mineral salts, etc. See, prokaryotic and eukaryotic, as I have told you that these are very much important terms, prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. They may ask you for difference between also. They usually ask this kind of questions. Prokaryotic cell, as you all know, that prokaryotic cell where the nuclear membrane was absent, but eukaryotic cell where there are double nuclear membrane, isn't it? We have seen that. So basically these are prokaryotic cells, are the cells containing the primitive nucleus. That is, you can say that all the organelles are not there, or you can say that this is the primitive nucleus. It is the smaller one, smaller version, you can say. But eukaryotic is the well defined nucleus is there, and its functioning is also well defined. So eukaryotic cells are there. Where it is present? It is present in plants and animals, isn't it? So now see, you can also understand that prokaryotic is the primitive one, and eukaryotic is what? Perfectly formed nucleus. Here they have given prokaryotic and eukaryotic. First point is nucleus is not well defined. Well defined nucleus with nuclear membrane, single length of DNA, several length of genetic material containing DNA, that is chromosomes here are many, like in human beings 46, 23 pairs, but here there will be only one chromatin, that one chromosome or one chromatin fiber will be there, and here small ribosomes, and here large ribosomes. No other cell organelles. See, here I was saying that no other cell organelles, but here several cell organelles are there. See, as you can also understand that this is a bacteria, that is, it may be a smaller kind of organisms, no, that is the unicellular kind of thing. So prokaryotic is, you can say that it is found in the unicellular. So these are not well defined one, but this eukaryotic cells are having different organelles, well structured one. That's why they are found in plants and the higher animals, no, multicellular. Here I have taken this figure. See here, eukaryotes, they are having nucleolus, mitochondria. They are having mitochondria. They are having membrane enclosed nucleus. Well defined nucleus is there. But here they are not having that. In prokaryotic, they are having the nucleoid, and ribosomes are there. See, flagellum. In that cell bacteria also flagellum was there. See. And you all know that this bacteria is having prokaryotic type of cell. That's why it is having flagellum. It is for this structure is for basically movement. It helps for the movement. Okay. So these are the prokaryotic cells. See, now here also you can see that all different organelles are there, present in eukaryotic but not present in the prokaryotic. And every activity of a living organism is the outcome of cellular activity. That means how this cell helps us in different activities, they have shown in this topic. What are those? First one is the growth. All organisms grow due to the growth in size and increase in number of cells. Such growth is the production of more body substances and cell substances. So as you all know that from age 1 up to till age 2, age 3. Like when the human being is growing, at the similarly that cells are also growing. There is increase in the number of cells, isn't it? Human being or animal or a plant also, when it is growing, that number of cells are also growing. So growth, it shows us growth, and growth is what? Nothing but increase in the number of cells. Repair. What is repair? Repair of injury or regeneration of lost parts is due to cell divisions. Yes, whenever you got hurt something or you got cut, after some days automatically that healing process is going on, isn't it? So repairing. And who does it? It is done because of the cells only. Movement of a body is due to contractility of cells or cellular parts. For examples, animals walk, run, jump, swim or fly with help of muscles which move the bones. Even flow of blood in blood vessels and passage of food in the gut are result of muscle cells contraction. Yes, whatever movement we are doing, we are walking, or in fact the inside our some organs are there, in that also movement is going on. Like you can say heart is pumping, that is contractile of those muscles is going on, isn't it? Cardiac muscles, that contraction is going on, isn't it? So you can say that the movement is due to the cells only. Here they have also told that continuously blood is flowing, and this blood whatever is flowing, it is also due to that cells only. Okay. Feathers which help the birds to fly are also the products of cells. So here different examples they have given. Just read it out. Movement basically is due to the cell. Okay. Next is what? Feeding and nutrition. Feeding and nutrition has many steps, and each step is result of cellular activities. Sensory cells on tongue taste the food, and muscle cells on the jaws of the tongue help in chewing and swallowing. Cells of the digestive glands secrete enzymes to digest food. Cells of inner lining of intestine absorb digested food. Extra food is stored as fat in fat cells and as glycogen in liver cells. Now see what are they saying? That whatever we are eating, we are getting energy from whatever we are eating. That is, we are feeding ourselves, and we are getting the nutrition. Now there are different steps. They have divided into different steps. First is what we are eating. So see, sometimes it happens that if one vegetable is there that you like it much, then you eat it a lot. But if you don't like it, then you don't eat it a lot, isn't it? So that first comes is the sensory cells on the tongue. If you like the taste, then you will eat a lot, isn't it? So sensory organ comes here, sensory cells comes here, and the process continues with the chewing. That you will chew and then you will digest it, you will gulp it, isn't it? That means afterwards will be swallowing, and then the digestive enzymes will be there that will help for the digestion. And after the digestion gets over, that all the nutrition will be absorbed in the blood, isn't it? It will be absorbed by the intestines, and some extra food will be there, it will be get stored as a fat. That means all this process are there, and in all these steps, the different types of cells are there, those are working for us. Here they want to say that. Okay. Circulation of blood and movement of other fluids in the body are through forces set up by the contraction of muscle cells of heart or the other parts. As I have told you that heart is continuously pumping and blood is flowing, no? So that is also due to what? Cells only. That movement is occurring due to cells. Respiratory gases are transported from lungs to other parts of the body by blood cells. So, yes, that respiratory gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide are, which is flowing continuously through the blood, is being done by cells. We see the body protects itself from disease causing germs through certain cells, that is WBC, white blood cells, which devour the germs or which give out antibodies and antitoxins to kill them or to neutralize their effects. Yes, WBCs are there, which will continuously protect our our immune system is there na, which will continuously protect us if any foreign particle comes or any microorganisms attack us. At that time they are the one who will generate the immunity and will fight for us, isn't it? They will kill that microorganism by creating the or producing the antibodies. Here that is only said that WBC, so white blood cells. Here also cells come into action. So if we look properly deep inside, then everywhere we are functioning on whole, but our the minute or the microscopic view will be what the cell is functioning for us. So protection of body has been done by WBC cells. We see, hear, smell, taste or feel the sensation of touch, pain, heat, cold. See, whenever we touch that hot cup of tea, at that time we only touch a small part of finger, isn't it? And still we are getting to know that this is hot. That means here also cells come into action. We maintain our body heat, that is thermoregulation, by cellular activity, and we cool it when it is hot by sweating from cells of sweat glands in the skin. So maintenance of the body temperature, because according to the surrounding or environment we are maintaining our body temperature to survive, isn't it? So thermoregulation is being done by cells only. If there is more heat, then sweating is also occurring fast, isn't it? So maintenance of that body temperature is done by cells only. All organisms produce their young ones in birds, babies, in animals, or seeds in plants through the activity of cells. Yes, female gamete and male gamete combined together, so those are nothing but cells only. Those are cells which are combining and then forming a, whenever a new living being is being formed, at that time it is in the form of cell only, single cell, isn't it? And then the cell division occurs and then it grows. So basically here also the production of young ones is there. In any case, in animals, human beings or plants, it is where the cells are functioning. Absorption of water, that is in plants, when they have to absorb water or nutrients through the root cells. The stem cells conduct food and water to different parts of the. So yes, see, whenever that you have seen, no, that the root cells are there, those will this was there in your previous classes also, that the roots will go deep inside to find the water, and whenever that it will get the water, it will suck and will transport it through the different tissues are there of plants also. Plant cells are there which will help to move upside the water, minerals or whatever salts required, isn't it? And it will transport it to the different parts of the plant. So this absorption of water and different minerals will be there, that will be done by the cells only. Light is trapped by leaf cells containing chloroplast to produce food. Yes, this I don't have to explain you much, isn't it? Flowers attract insect by their color contained in the cells or of the petals or nectar secreting cells. So here also that for this reproduction this only in plants also, this different colors are there, as you have seen that different color flowers are there, and some flowers are there which are producing scent, so to attract the insect or birds also, isn't it? So this is nothing but here also the cells are there who are working so that reproduction of those particular plant will also occur, isn't it? So done. I hope you all understand this chapter. It is very easy, but study this chapter, it is important also.